Hello guys, you're with Sri Lanka's premier sports hub, www.ThePapare.com, and welcome to the first edition of Football 360, where we'll be talking about football here in Sri Lanka, as well as abroad in the English Premier League, the La Liga, the Serie A, the Bundesliga, as well as the UEFA Champions League and many more. But first and foremost, we'll be talking about football in Sri Lanka, where the Dialog Champions League group stage matches have ended, and in the next weekend, we'll be starting the Super 8 rounds. We'll be looking at the mid-table as well as the relegation zones in Group A and Group B. In fifth position in Group A, it's Saunders who finished with 4 wins, 3 draws and 3 losses and on 15 points, as well as Solid with 4 wins, 3 draws and also 3 losses, also on 15 points. And Nandimitra, who started off well, with 4 wins, just 1 draw and 5 losses, has 13 points, while Police, who beat the defending champions, Solid with 3 wins, 2 draws and 5 losses on 11 points. While Upcountry Lions just above the relegation zone with 1 win and on 7 points, while Pelicans and Highlanders were relegated with 7 points and 1 point respectively. Highlanders were the Division 1 champions. So we'll talk about Saunders, who had a pretty miserable start to their season, where they couldn't get a win in their first 5 matches, and the next 5 matches they lost only 1, but had to rely on Saunders losing, which they didn't against Police SC. Solid started off their campaign, their defense of the last year's Dialog Champions League, with a 4-3 loss against Police. It was a goal fest, but they are on in with, they won against Saunders 2-0 and again lost against Army. And Upcountry, they drew 0-0, and against Air Force, it was a 2-1 win. It was a mixed bag of performances by Solid, and what really derailed them was their loss against Nandimitra, 3-2 loss here at the CRNFC grounds, which completely took them out of their game. And the Police, who started off their campaign after a miserable last season very well, winning 3 of their 5 first matches, but then in the last 5 matches they couldn't win any matches. They drew against Upcountry and Crystal Palace, while losing against Air Force, Saunders and Renown. While Nandimitra also had a good start to their season, but towards the end, in the last 5 matches, they only won against Solid, while losing against Saunders, Army, Upcountry, and in their last match, drawing against Air Force. For Upcountry Lions, they could manage only 1 win against Nandimitra. That was in week 9, too late for them, with a 1-0 win, while they lost 5 matches and drew 4 matches as well. For Pelicans, they won 2 matches, but somehow they couldn't manage a few draws, where they finished with 7 points, and with Upcountry Lions having a better goal difference, just getting themselves out of the relegation position. While Highlanders, who were the Division 1 champions last season, couldn't get any wins. They got only 1 draw, just 1 point against Upcountry Lions. That was in week 3. Now we'll look at the mid-table and relegation of Group B, where New Youngs SC just missing out on 15 points in 5th position, and Negombo Youth with 13 points with winning just 4 matches. Super Sun, who started off the campaign really well, could manage only 3 wins, and they finished off with 11 points. Mahatara City, 9 points. Tiharia Youth, 5 points. And Kalutar Park and Don Bosco were relegated, with Don Bosco were disqualified, having ineligible players. We look at New Youngs SC, their performance. They started off the campaign with a 1-0 win against Javelin, lost to Super Sun, a 3-0 loss. But they are running, they had good performances, winning against Tiharia Youth, drawing against Colombo FC and Blue Star, 2 heavyweights of this competition, and against Kalutar Park, Mahatara City, and Negombo Youth. In their match against Tiharia Youth, they won 3-2, but the decision was reversed because they had fielded an ineligible player, and the win was given to Tiharia Youth, which ultimately cost them their place in the Super 8 rounds, where Navy SC finished with 16 points and Nigambu Youth just 15. So that means if they had won that match, they would have been 18 points and could have made it to the second place in that top 4. And talking about Nigambu Youth, they had a mixed bag of performances. They lost their first match 1-0 against Navy, but they got a few heavy thrashings against Colombo FC, a 6-0 loss, and against Blue Star, a 5-0 loss. Always is going to be after those heavy thrashings. It will be an uphill task for any team to get into the campaign. And they wilted in a 6th position, while Super Sun, quite surprisingly, after getting a few notable players in Nagur Meera, Tirina Bandara, Chatura Gunaratna, 2 former Sri Lanka captains, they started off the campaign with 2 wins against Mahatara City and New Youngs. But they are on in for the next 8 matches. They could win only just 1 match, while losing 5 matches and drawing 2. So that was an unthinkable, unimaginable position for Super Sun in this tournament, as they won in the 8th week against Kaluthara Park, a 2-0 win. But against Colombo FC, they lost 2-1, while against Blue Star, against their hometown rivals, they lost 2-0. And Mahatara City, who came into the quarterfinals in last year's FA Cup final, could manage only 3 wins. And of those 3 wins, the most surprising win was in week 8, where they upended Navy SC 1-0 at home. Nobody thought about that win. And Tiharia Youth, they could manage only 1 against New Youngs. That was a win which was overturned. It was a loss which was overturned in their favor because, like I said before, New Youngs had fielded an ineligible player, while Kaluthara Park, their only point came against Tiharia Youth in their first week when they drew 0-0, but the rest of the matches, they lost quite heavily, and Kaluthara Park and Don Bosco were relegated from Group B. That's it from the first edition of Football 360. Do join us again for more. I'm Navod Vijay Vikrama for ThePapare.com, sharing the passion.